Noahkai Banks came on my radar 6 months ago as a player even who existed, and came on my radar as a player who started this weekend when he made headlines because he played in the Bundesliga for the first time.
Yeah, no. You'll just get clipped. Noahkai Banks next. Kobe Mano says American soccer fan.
Exactly. Like, you just see it. You just see it happening. Although without TikTok, who's going to clip anything, really?
Fair enough. Welcome back to Yanks Abroad. Today we have a little bit of a different one. We'll be talking transfer window for the U.S. men's national team players, as we are halfway through the window, or just about. But we do have one player coming for you, a very interesting name that will highlight a young player, and then finishing, of course, with some power rankings. Will, you want to start us off?
Yeah, let's talk transfer window. I'm going to say a name of a player. You tell me, should he move during this window or stay at his club during this window? Start with Gio Reyna.
Do I have to give quick? A lot of these are nuanced, man.
No, it doesn't have to be quick. It doesn't. Okay. It's maybe give your immediate reaction, and then if we end up having a discussion and end up somewhere else, that's fine.
Okay, good. Because I want to give January and at the end of the year, because I think they're relevant, but we're obviously in January, so I'll answer that first. Gio Reyna, I'm going to say no, do not move.
Interesting.
The reason I say that is because we were in this position last year. He went on loan. It didn't work. And after doing our player comp, it's becoming more, by the way, and not just from the player comp, literally everything we know about Giovanni Reyna. It's a effort thing. It's an attitude thing. It's a willingness to do whatever it takes for the team or to get into the team. And he's never shown it. And despite all that, he's inconsistent. He's consistently getting into the team, inconsistently starting for a pretty good Dortmund side, scoring goals. And my thought is like, everyone's original thought is like, all right, well, if he's doing this for Dortmund, he could definitely go somewhere and start consistently and continue doing this. And it's like everything we know about him and just last year is the complete opposite. So in my mind, I'm like, in reality, are we seeing the best situation for Giovanni Reyna right now, which is kind of scoring like for Dortmund and playing every now and again. And like, that's the best you're going to get for him. So I'm going to say no in January. And at the end of the year, so Milan just left.
Yeah.
Like, I think
that actually opens up a spot. People don't realize Milan plays mostly on the wing for them. I mean, he wasn't playing the most this year, but that is kind of a spot that's opened up.
Yeah. Yeah. So my answer is no now. And things obviously will change in 6 months. And we want to get our players playing consistently, especially like next year this summer will be such an important window for our guys before the World Cup. But I lean no now in the summer as well. What are your thoughts?
Well, just sitting here, he scored today. He's scored 2 in his last 4, I believe, and he has featured in all of Dortmund's last 6 matches. Right. So that's not a player who's not involved. I mean, if you told me at any point Reyna was going to feature in 6 consecutive matches for Dortmund, I would be pretty happy to hear that, which is kind of crazy. Like, that's such a low bar, but like, he is getting the opportunity. As you mentioned, Milan is on the way out. I feel like they could have fetched a similar fee for Gio Reyna, probably 20 million pounds, give or take. Definitely. They preferred the player. I mean, they're not exactly the same profile or position, but we're talking about attackers nonetheless. It does feel like with Bino Gittins taking that left wing spot, like to be his, Milan probably was not going to play a whole bunch. But yeah, I guess stay makes sense. Let's see what Dortmund do. Let's see if they fight for the title, probably more top 4 of a fight. See what they do in the Champions League. But yeah, I mean, long term, I think he's got to leave this summer. I just don't think he's in the long-term plans at that club right now, just based off of all the moves that they have been making. And they also have been interested in adding a lot of other players in this window too. So it does depend on how the next week or 2 go. But if nobody comes in that kind of attacking left-sided role, then yeah, I think Gio Reyna should stay. I think he's playing every week. And what else could you ask for?
Right. As we talk about it now, if you removed kind of all context and just laid it out simply with a blank page, it's like he's scoring, he's playing every game, and one of his biggest competitors just left the squad and no one has come in right now. And all of his moves would most likely be to a lesser quality club. Like, anyone's answer, blank slate, would be like 100% stay. Like, why are we even contemplating leaving? That's just I don't even know if dichotomy is the right word, but just like the difficulty of Gio Reyna's situation forever when we speak about him. But like I said, I think we're getting the best of what a Gio Reyna situation is going to be for the time being.
100%. He's got the opportunity right now to impress. So let's see if he does it.
Yep. All right.
Next
up, I'm excited to pose you this one. Ricardo Pepi.
So my original thought would be to move because I think he's earned the right to not be the backup striker at the club. 100%. He's in way better form than Luc de Jong, and he continues to be the backup at the club. But there was reports that came out today that they will not let him leave in January. He scored 2 goals today in a massive comeback win for them in the round of 16 in the Netherlands version of like the League Cup, FA Cup, to help them win 5-4. He's playing a pivotal role for them. They look like they will qualify for the next round of the Champions League. So it is a great situation. So it's like, okay, obviously he should stay, but I'd like to see him play tougher competition. But he's likely going to be our starting striker in March and probably come the summer with Balogun's injury. So you would like to see him keep his confidence at this point and then hopefully has a great Gold Cup and then secures a big move come this summer. So long term, I do think if he doesn't leave this summer, I'll be very disappointed. I understand he's going to stay in January, but at what point does he become the starting striker? That's what's frustrating.
Yeah. No, I was 100%. It's just like, I feel like what we've learned maybe is like when something is going good for one of our players, it's probably the best case to keep it that way, at least for the time being. And that's just how I feel about him. But you're right. It's like there shouldn't be a question of if he has that starting spot. And the reason I lean stay is because I just feel like De Jong had an injury before, and that's why he was consistently starting. So then he comes back from injury, and it's like he was so good last year. He deserves the right to, when healthy, have that. And my feelings were, with them both healthy, Pepi in his current form, as you stated, would separate himself as the non-negotiable starting striker. De Jong, just from last year, earned the right to have that look in still when fit. So that's why I lean stay, is because I believe, despite what this podcast knows of my thoughts on Pepi, I believe that in his current form, when both healthy, he would earn that starting spot. So he's going to keep that. And again, be in the Champions League, play. Again, we want him to play tougher competition. He's going to get that through the Champions League. But playing in that really, really consistent, strong PSV side, I think is a good thing for him. And like you said, him staying confident through these next couple windows where Balogun will be out. And who knows, like, injuries are tough. When you become an injury-prone player, it's tough to count on someone. So when we consistently talked about Balogun being our starting striker no matter what, like, he proved that. He earned that at Copa. Like, we need, if this is going to be Balogun's future, we need Pepi to be just as good because we can no longer, unfortunately, count on Balo to be there every time.
No, for sure. And again, like, the situation's good right now with Pepi. He's playing alongside not just Malik Tillman, but also obviously Richie Ledesma. Serginho Dest should come back. So, I mean, it's good to have 4 players in the same squad who can all relate and make these trips together and whatnot. All right, next up, Antonee Robinson, who had another 2 assists today, bringing his tally to 9 on the season in the Premier League, most of any fullback. And I'm going to pose this as not just a straight move or stay, but if Manchester United come knocking this window, should he move or should he stay?
This is unfair. You didn't prepare me with this caveat.
I did not. Because
my answer would have been move. Now that you made it specific to
really, your answer would have been move.
100%.
Assuming who? It's Liverpool who comes knocking?
I mean, he was going up, right? We know who he's been talked about, but just in general, we figured it would be a step up, and I would say move. United, it's like, yes, regardless, it is still a step up, but like it's not going to, in my opinion, United, it's not going to turn good anytime soon. So is it worth ruining his form to go through that yet get the step up? I think Amorim is going to figure it out. So I lean move. Short term, it would probably be a bad thing. But I think long term, especially going into next year, having the starting left back on Manchester United being our starting left back, and maybe him, like in Fulham, he's very comfortable, which is partly why they're getting so much out of him. He's so comfortable. He knows exactly what he needs to do, and he's not asked to do more than is expected, and he's thriving in that. I think with Poch and the system, we've already seen him inverted. Like in a United system, he's going to be asked to do more, which we've always asked him as the two of us singularly to do more for the US, be better. And he's going to be put into even more uncomfortable positions under Poch. So I think making that move would be good for him as looking towards the World Cup. He will hopefully be a better player and not just playing amazingly, but just because he's in such a good system at Fulham, if that makes sense.
No, for sure. And I think this season, a big thing that people I haven't heard talk about a lot is he's not playing next to Tim Ream. So he has a little bit more flexibility to get further up the pitch. Calvin Bassey is mostly playing near him, who's a little bit more athletic, who can cover a little bit more space. And Antonee's allowed to get a little further up the pitch without worrying about those defensive responsibilities. Now, is that a good thing for the U.S. men's national team? I'm not so certain. We haven't seen the best out of Antonee for the U.S. men's national team. But yeah, no, I think right now it's just going so well. Like he should finish the season there. I mean, if he finishes the season with 15, 16 assists, that's insane. He's already at 9. Like insane. 9 is crazy.
And it's cool to talk about. And it makes us proud. And it probably is good for more reasons than we probably realize. But like, does it make us, the singular goal is, does it make us better for the 2026 World Cup? And it's a risk because things could go really poorly. He runs out of form, and then he's not in the United squad, and then things could obviously compile and get worse. But I think it is worth the risk of him. Like, there's a world where he hits the ground running there. They figure it out, United. They're in the top 4 race next season going into the World Cup, and he's actually the best left back maybe in the world or something.
See, crazy. I think this summer he's going to Liverpool because they've been looking for the Andy Robertson. Long-term replacement. I think he's kind of the most like for like of any of the him or Kirkaz. I think are the.
Is he a long-term replacement?
Well, that's the thing, right? He's 27 already. I think he's 28 almost.
Yeah.
So yeah, how long-term a replacement is he? I mean, I think he has a little bit less football on his legs than Andy Robertson has had, because you got to think Andy Robertson's playing 60 matches a year the last 5 years.
But also, Andy Robertson's, they're similar, but Jedi style of play is he's like a Kyle Walker type. Kyle Walker did well to fix his style. But if you remember
Robertson, those first few years when they made back-to-back Champions League finals and won the league, like Robertson was far forward as him and Trent both set the fullback record the same season for assists in a season. I think they had 13.
I just feel like he will deteriorate at a quicker rate than other players, I'd imagine, just because he's so dependent on that pace and
speed.
Athleticism.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think Manchester United is a perfect fit for him because he actually doesn't have to defend that much. It's a 5-back situation. He's really a left winger. He's holding the width. I mean, Amad Diallo has been playing out there sometimes. So it's like he really would get a chance to be an attacking fullback. So again, I don't know how great that is for the U.S. men's national team.
Yep. All right. Up next, I'm actually interested because you put him on the list. I'm not sure I would have. Tanner Tessmann.
Yeah, I mean, I put him on the list just because with Lyon's situation, like, I think any player is for sale. Like Ryan Cherky is for sale. Like anybody who they gets a good enough offer, they will sell. I don't think Tessmann will go, not just because they just brought him in, but I think they brought him in for a pretty low fee and they'd like to probably try and turn him into a higher fee player, right? They brought him in for like $6 million. And, if he plays another 18 months there, they talking about a 20, 25 million euro player. So it's like, I think he's one of those investments where you wouldn't want to flip it for nothing. They may have to, but I don't think he should leave. I think he's getting a good opportunities. The coach really likes him the way he speaks about him. I know he doesn't play that much, but it seems like they're like super protective of him. I don't know if like he's got all sorts of muscle issues or
we've been talking about this protection for so long now. It feels like it's like there's something else to it at this point.
No, it's definitely odd, but I mean, I think if anything, there's going to be more opportunity there for him by the end of this window, and so Lyon's a perfect place for him. They're fighting for Champions League spots. He's playing in Europe. I don't know exactly where they stand actually in the Europa League standings. Let me look right now. They are in fourth in the Europa League standings, so they're looking like they're going to go right to the round of 16. So yeah, I mean, this is a perfect place for him. I mean, the opportunity to potentially win a European trophy, like I don't think he'll get that other places where he's playing meaningful minutes.
100%. No, I agree. I think everything you said is my feelings as well.
All right. Next up, another player who I don't think you maybe would have thought would be on the list, but just with Kolomuani going to Juventus today, I think it's worth talking about. Tim Weah, sell, move, or stay?
No, so I actually was surprised. We were on the same page. I was surprised you put it on the list because I was going to if you didn't. I mean, that's big news. Like, he's not a small incoming, and Weah was already. It feels abrupt to say that he was like on his way out, whatever it may be, getting phased out. But I think it's more that I would want him to leave because I think there is a step that he is capable of taking that just because he's been in this system and situation so long that he's like maybe self-capped himself to being like, I'm this type of player who does this for the side and I'm playing at Juventus and it's great. So I'm not going to take a ton of risks. I'm going to do my job. I'm going to do it well. And that keeps me in and around the squad. I think a new move. Now, this is all happening very quickly. So I have no idea genuinely where this move would be to, but I think a move for him, if he can find somewhere competitive that is, he is the starter every single week, I really think there's another step. I mean, you guys know how big of a fan I am, but I think there's another step for him to take, and I think it may take him getting out of Juve to really unlock that.
No, yeah, I agree. And it's also like, I mean, I already mentioned, but with Kolomuani, that seems like a very similar profile player, right? You're talking about, I mean, he's obviously doesn't have the defensive acumen. I don't think he'll ever come on at left wing back, but we've seen Weah play on both wings. We've seen Weah play through the middle. That seems like what Kolomuani is. And it doesn't look like Vlahovic is leaving. I know there's all these rumors, but I don't believe he's leaving. So you'd have to imagine they rate Kolomuani higher than Tim Weah. What is Tim Weah doing now for the rest of this year at Juventus? I don't know what the opportunity is. They have Conceição. They've really been relying on Weah as kind of more of a substitute option. Right. And this is a team that's been lacking goals in a big way because all they do is draw. So I just wonder if it's kind of not being spoken about, but you'd have to imagine a loan move could be on the books for him in these next 6 months. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go on loan to any number of clubs, both in Italy and out of Italy. Yeah. But I would like to see him go like somewhere like Como or somewhere with a cool young manager where he could get the opportunity to play every week because I don't think he's playing enough.
Agreed. I think consistency of like starts, not just sub appearances, but consistency of starts, I think would be really, really good for him. And if he can be on a side that at least is competitive, so he's not just like sitting and defending and trying to hit from the break. If he's playing at least a little bit of like they are getting between 40 to 60% possession, whatever it may be, like I think he has the next step in him.
For sure.
All right. Before we get to the next person, if you are enjoying, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button for us. That would be very, very appreciative. Now that TikTok's gone, this is number one place to get all U.S. men's national team news. I don't know if you guys were getting it from TikTok before, but it's banned now. Next on the list is Matt Turner.
You know, I really am prepared to say move because obviously he should move, but he's the cup goalie for Crystal Palace. He's going to probably be the FA Cup goalie for the rest of the season. Although at clubs like that, like if they were to make a run, I don't think he's still the cup goalie. I guess he's probably pulled out. So obviously
we've seen it done before.
It's just like, where is he going to move? I just don't know where the move is. Like there was an interest this summer. They have 3 goalkeepers. They couldn't sell the guy. So obviously the answer is move, but I don't know what the answer is to where. And the setup isn't bad where he is right now. Is there an opportunity where potentially the number one gets hurt and he's the starting goalkeeper for Crystal Palace? I don't even know if he's really second.
No, I think he is.
I think he is too. But yeah, move. He's got to move. We need our goalkeeper to be playing every week, or hopefully he's not our goalkeeper because, this would be crazy. If he doesn't move this summer, we're talking about 2 years of being a backup and then starting in a World Cup. That
Correct.
doesn't make sense.
My feelings are stay because of the proposition that he's at Palace. There's an injury that could happen, and then all of a sudden he's playing. He wouldn't move somewhere better than getting consistent Premier League Palace football. He's a cup goalie. Like everything you said is why I think he should stay. When you get to the we don't need him. He's still the U.S. men's national team goalie. He will be at the World Cup. It's not going to change. So I think keep the situation you're at right now. And then, of course, come the summer, we need him playing. He needs to be a starting goalkeeper. And if that's in the championship, if that's in somewhere else, whatever it may be, it has to get done in the summer. But I think right now it's worth him staying because, like you said, I haven't seen anything. I'm not sure there's an opportunity for him to go somewhere that's worth him starting.
1,000%. But the question to me is like, does he have the humility to go test his luck in the championship? Because I do think that's a great place for him to be. Like that to me, most American fans maybe not realize, but that would be a great league for him to play in every week. Like play 46 matches a season. Like
all he needs is shots on. Like if for a goalkeeper, it's just a dream.
And like I think the kind of defenders you're playing with are probably pretty close, accurate to what you're going to be playing with for the U.S. men's national team. So
didn't have to go there.
All right, next, Gabriel Slonina, whose loan just got recalled. So my question really more to you is, should he look for another loan from Chelsea, or does he need to get out of Chelsea altogether?
Okay, the answer clear. He has no future at Chelsea. I think 100%. Everyone understands that. So the permanent transfer is yes. Is it going to get done now? No, or at least I don't think so. So it's a question of similar to Turner. Can he get a loan move anywhere where he's going to be playing, or in some world for the next 6 months, it's better that he's just at an elite training facility. But I don't know what training looks like. How many shots is he stopping at Chelsea as the 9th string goal? I don't even know how that works. So if there's a world where you see it as a positive that he's in that type of club just training, I agree with that. But if not, he's got to be touching the ball somehow.
Yeah, no, it's goalkeepers, the same with Turner. Like goalkeepers have to be playing, and those should be the easiest loans to sort out. So somebody needs a goalkeeper somewhere. And I actually think the second league in Spain is a really good developmental league for goalkeepers. Usually for Spanish goalkeepers, but if you look at like a history of some of the goalkeepers that are kind of become like the younger or more valuable goalkeepers in the world, like some of the 22 to 25-year-old ones right now, a lot of them played in the second division in Spain at some point in their career. So I don't know if that's a potential move there. I don't know if Chelsea has contacts there. They seem to use a lot of the same clubs over and over again, and I don't know any of them that are in La Liga too, but that would be a preferred spot for me.
Yeah. Honestly, for me, I've kind of just, which is probably unfair, I've kind of just given up on Slonina as an option.
Yeah, no, it's not unfair. He couldn't make it work at Barnsley.
Right.
He hasn't gotten a look in any way, really, for the men's national team and wasn't the goalkeeper over Schulte at the Olympics. So, yeah, it's not a giving up. He's young, but right now, he's not a viable option in 2026. Right. So,
no. Yeah. All right, before we get any further, I think we should have the Pulisic discussion. So this obviously doesn't apply to this transfer window, but we'll extend the game with a caveat going to next summer. Pulisic stay or go?
I really go back and forth because, again, it's one where I would love to see him at Liverpool. That would be so cool, if he was at the best club in England right now. But I just think the situation is so good for him. I'd like Conceição as a manager. I think that's somebody with acumen, somebody who can win. And if he becomes a cult hero at Milan, I think one of him or Leao probably leaves this summer. And so they're not going to let both go. My hope is Leao is the one to go. And this really becomes Pulisic's team because right now I'd say Leao is probably the bigger world star, even though Pulisic's in much better form and been much better for the last 18 months. But I'm going to go with stay. He's learned Italian. He's settled in. It's been a really good league for him. And not that he's reached his peak, but I don't see him going to some other club and making a huge leap in how good he is. And so to me, it's more risk for him to go somewhere else where, you know what, he could be at AC Milan at the 2030 World Cup as well.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's like you don't want to. It feels like an unnecessary risk that would be taken for just our own selfish enjoyment. Like we just want to see him in the Prem, in a selfish way, but it's probably best for him to stay at Milan.
Yeah, that 100%.
Like there's a small world where he goes to Liverpool and he gets to another level. But
yes.
But I think both of us would agree the likelihood of him getting to the next level by going to Liverpool or
But what is the next level? Like what is it?
Like
He's
literally becoming a top 15 player in the world.
Like I don't think that's realistic.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like moving to Liverpool, I don't see him staying the same. So it's either the move doesn't go well, he doesn't start playing as well, he starts being in and out of the squad because they have a lot of talent in the squad, and then it's a clear negative, or he truly is Captain America and like he becomes a absolute killer. And it's like we're at the point to where Christian Pulisic is like capable of taking the U.S. men's national team to the semifinals on his own.
Right. I mean, I guess if he...
And which is the more likely of the two.
Right. Like, the only way it could even work at Liverpool for me that makes any sense is if Salah does leave for free this summer and they do want to bring a replacement in, then okay, I think I can get behind Pulisic going to Liverpool. I don't want him to go to Manchester United. That just has been a horrible place, and I don't see another top Premier League club having interest in him unless... And I mean, there has been no links. The only two clubs I've seen links are Manchester United and Liverpool, but like... Same. If he were to go to a City or an Arsenal or a Chelsea, like he's coming in as a rotation option. He's not coming in as the starting 10 or right winger. So
yeah, I don't think he's certainly not making a move that he doesn't know at least he's going to be a starter to begin with, of course. I don't think anyone would be dumb enough to do that. But yeah, I also think like what would be his transfer value? Like I don't want him coming in with a 80 million.
I mean, I think you're probably looking at 50 to 60. I think he's got 2 years left on his contract. Let me look. I'm pretty sure he's got 2 years coming this summer. I believe he'll have 2 years left. So that's the other thing. Before I do a whole spiel here, 2027. So yeah, he'll have 2 years left on his contract come this summer. Like Milan is going to want to negotiate a new contract or sell. Like they're not going to let him get to 1 year. So yeah, there is a chance he leaves this summer if he won't agree to a new contract, but I think he wants to stay.
And I think like you said, they're going to make a decision between the two, and it's all going to kind of work itself out of like, if they want to keep Weah, they'll sell him. And if not, he gets the new contract because they're going to pay him like the guy who they want to put their trust in over a Rafael Leao. Like,
for sure.
Yeah.
All right. That's our transfer window move or stay. A couple of moves already happened for some U.S. men's national teams players. We had Luca de la Torre finding his way back to the MLS, or actually not his way back, his way to the MLS. San Diego, correct?
It sounds, I mean, the only reason you, like when you said correct, I like started questioning myself.
San Diego.
Yes.
On loan, which is the opposite move of what James Sands did, which is he went on a loan from NYCFC to St. Pauli. And did an interview in which he basically said, I want to find my way into Pochettino's side. This is my best chance. He's got a 6-month loan, and St. Pauli has an option to extend it 1 more year if they like the player. And already has made his debut. He made his debut this weekend, played 12 minutes. And, I mean, listen, Sands is a player who spent his whole life in the NYCFC Academy. He's from Westchester, New York. He is a holding midfielder who likens himself to play like Rodri. I mean, this is a position that's going to be tough for him to get into.
For sure.
It just shows you where this team has come, where we're no longer bringing the Shaq Moores and whatnot because we bring some MLS players. Like James Sands knows his best chance and only chance at getting into the side is going to play in Germany, even if it means playing for St. Pauli, who are relegation scrappers.
It's interesting you say that. Like I was listening to a podcast yesterday and they were talking about like, is Pochettino's comments smoke and mirrors about like, he said, like, I'm taking players who are playing and Luca de la Torre made the decision of like he's not playing anymore. He's got to do what's best for him. And specifically, Pochettino's comment said, so if that means the MLS, Messi's playing in the MLS and he's the best player in the world. Now, obviously, that's hyperbole to a degree that we don't need to talk about. But do you believe what Poch is saying? Like, which move do you think is smarter? Because I'm on the fence of like, if he doesn't get into the side, if Santos doesn't get into the side, but he's playing, then he's cooked. And then like, even if Luca de la Torre starts playing,
very position based though. Like for James Sands, he's not getting in over Adams, Tessmann, and Cardoso if he's playing for NYCFC, right? Like there's no chance of that. All three of them would have to get injured. Whereas if he plays at St. Pauli, has an excellent 18 months, and one of those guys is unable to play in the World Cup, he could come. Like I think all three of them right now are in the World Cup squad. So theoretically, he's the most like for like, and he also has some experience at center back. So I think that helps his case as well. I don't think he's the world's greatest center back, but just if he has that versatility and someone who can step in there, I think that's really where it comes. Whereas if I'm Matt Turner, I probably would rather be playing in the MLS and playing every week next year than not play.
Right.
But then you have someone like Matt Freese, who is at this current camp, this Cupcake camp that Pochettino is hosting. And he's got links to be moving to either a Dutch club or a German club on loan for the rest of the year. So another goalkeeper who we can keep an eye out on, who's getting some European interest. Matt Turner's not locked in for 2026. I'd say he's locked in for the Gold Cup, but these next 18 months for goalkeepers are going to matter on who's playing and who's not playing.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of the Cupcake, there's jokes about it, but someone released like a list of something of like people who their first call up was to this squad and were important at big tournaments. So like all you got to do is get in the door. So I guess that goes to the same debate of like, what does get you in the door? And I guess we're going to find out.
For sure. All right. One more topic before we get to our power rankings was Noahkai Banks, an 18-year-old center back who made his Bundesliga debut for Augsburg this weekend. He came on in the 29th minute for an injured center back at a left center back and a back five. He's been at FC Augsburg since he's 7 years old. Academy kid, grew up in Hawaii and then moved to Germany and has been in the academy forever. And I want to quickly show you the player comp from this match because I think it's one where pictures don't do it enough justice. And just kind of read you his stats, and then we can kind of talk a little bit about what you see, what I think I see in the player himself. So he had 31 of 35 passing, 2 long balls, 3 clearances, 2 interceptions, 4 recoveries, 2 tackles, and 3 duels won. And that will not shock you at all, I think, from watching this player. As you can see already, incredibly like lanky, tall build, athletic looking center back, even like in the way that he moves, like absolute confidence with the ball, like really, really nonchalant, but not in a bad way. Like I really like the way he carries the ball. He just looks like a player. And honestly, like I feel like that people would be like, oh, that doesn't matter. Aesthetics matter in this sport more than any other sport to me. Like the way you look on the ball is actually shows your ability and your confidence. Like that even just that little pass there, like easy turn, left-footed pass into pressure, not worried about it at all. Like backtracking to this ball, one touch pass across his body. I don't think I've seen a whole lot of Walker Zimmerman doing that. You know what I mean? Like there is something to aesthetics, and especially in a center back to see this confidence, to me, it's really exciting. Even like the ball striking on that hard pass, like is something. Lanky, good slide tackler. I don't know. That's what I see in this player. I'm not going to be like, this guy's going to make the March call up, but it's definitely one to look out for as center back's a spot where we could use somebody of this profile. I mean, the height and the speed really just is eye popping.
Yeah. I mean, obviously from a 1 minute clip, if this was isolated, people would be like, what in the world are you talking about? Like, don't go crazy. But like everything you're saying is very true. And like when you have someone young who I completely agree with the aesthetic thing. And like, most importantly, if it's this and a goalkeeper, like this is the most important position that we need it. And if he's starting in the Bundesliga, there is no reason that he can't be a potential starter for us in 18 months.
For sure. I mean, even just those, like you were talking, just those last 3 plays where he took 2 touches into the middle past a player, like we don't have a center back can do that. Maybe Chris Fisher's a little bit, We've seen him do it once in a while, but just that confidence and ability on the ball is
100%.
Really,
and in a
needed.
Position where you mentioned Chris Richards, and it's like first name on team sheet, no question. And all of a sudden we have questions about Chris Richards. Like this, like getting anyone involved, because what we talked about is like we don't even have like options that like we're really tracking, because we either they're not in the system and like not getting time, or we know exactly who they are and they're not going to get any better. So just having someone pop up like this, I think it's very exciting, because until you brought this to my attention, I was unaware.
No, for sure. I mean, and I'm going to be completely fair to and honest about the game he played. He did switch off a little bit on the goal that was scored. It was partially his fault, but that's an 18-year-old center back in his first Bundesliga minutes. Like, I'm not too worried about that. To me, it's more, can the player earn a spot? Can he continue to grow as a player, continue to get better? And when we come to the Gold Cup this summer, if he's even in contention as a name, that's an incredible rise in the last 6 months. And by the way, this is not like just a U.S. men's national team thing. Think about Kobe Mainoo. He made his debut in January of last year for Manchester United, and then he was playing at the World Cup. At the Euros for England, right? Like, I'm not just saying this like blowing smoke up people's asses here. I don't think it's likely that Noahkai Banks is in the Gold Cup or World Cup squad. I would put it at 30% at best. But this is a player now who is in contention at 18 years old, at a Bundesliga club, at a tough position. That means something.
It happened way quicker to Mainoo, who is in a way more difficult position,
bigger club.
In squad, club and country position, versus him playing at a Bundesliga club, checks the box for us, and in a position where there's little to no serious competition. Like, Mainoo beat out a lot of quality people.
Right.
All he has to do is beat out Carter Vickers, and you're telling me he's in the squad?
This is a guy who literally, if he beats out Carter Vickers and Austin Trusty, he's the fourth best center back. And he may not even be the fourth best. If Tim Ream's legs go any more by the next World Cup, we're talking about he could be the third best, right? Like, he's not better than any of those guys already. I mean, I would take him over Miles Robinson and Walker Zimmerman.
It's certainly worth having on the radar, without a doubt, though.
He's somebody who basically, I think the point is, for the essence of this show is, this is someone you're going to hear us talk about now moving forward. Let's present him to you. This is who 100%. We're talking about. Keep an eye on him. He'll be in our updates. He'll be in our power rankings, yada, yada. I mean, even think about like Cole Campbell. We were talking about ever since like Reyna's been back. He's been playing with Dortmund too. He hasn't been in the squad. Like, we just brought him to the radar and we're not updating you. If you don't hear Noahkai Banks' name on the show in the next few weeks, that's because this was a one-off. He played. He's not in the, they want him to play still youth football or whatever. Or if this is a long-term injury, we're looking at a player who could be playing every week. So it's just a matter of keeping the audience informed. We're not trying to overhype anyone, because I feel like the thing that people say about like American soccer fans is the second someone plays in a top 5 league, you're overhyping them. They're the next best thing. Like, Noahkai Banks came on my radar 6 months ago as a player even who existed, and came on my radar as a player who started this weekend when he made headlines because he played in the Bundesliga for the first time.
Yeah, no. You'll just get clipped. Noahkai Banks next. Kobe Mainoo says American soccer fan.
Exactly. Like, you just see it. You just see it happening. Although without TikTok, who's going to clip anything, really?
Fair enough. All right. Awesome. You want to finish this off?
Yes. Power rankings. All right. At number 1, it's still going to be Christian Pulisic, even though no goal contributions this week. He has earned the right to stay there for a long time. However, Antonee Robinson is nipping at his heels at number 2.
He got injured.
Oh, of course he did. How long did they have an idea of how long he's out
so
for?
Early. He just got pulled. He got pulled at the end of the half. I haven't seen anything since.
Let's see. That doesn't look great.
Yeah, right.
It's that calf again. But it was contact is what what I'm reading here.
Yes, all true. Now, I'm not sure that answers our question, but it was worth throwing out there in case people missed it.
For sure. I mean, by the time this comes out tomorrow, there may already be a diagnosis,
right? Or
he'll be completely fine. But as of right now, he's number 1. Antonee Robinson, number 2. I mean, if Antonee Robinson has 15 assists this year, like, he may be number 1 on these power rankings, right? Like, what's he on pace for? It's been 22 games. He has 9. So we're looking at like 15 or 16. I'm not a mathematician, but something like that.
I feel like Fulham's form has tailed off a touch as well.
Yeah, I mean, they lost this match to West Ham 3-2.
If I'm not mistaken.
One win
so
in
it's
their
not
last 5.
Like originally when we were talking, it's like like they're crushing it and he's like he's just playing fantastic and they're just middling a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, and we talked about it before, like, where does he go from here? Like, is Aston Villa a step up enough that we would be like, because they're going to be in the market for a left back. It feels like they are always in the market for wing backs, although they do have Maatsen, right? But like, other than that, like,
I would say
Chelsea,
yes.
maybe, like if Cucurella's not long-term, although Cucurella's been playing great this year. It's just like, I don't know where. It's not like Nottingham Forest, I really think is going to be a huge step up unless they actually make Champions League. But I doubt they're going to, be spending money on a left back. I don't know. All right. Third, I put Malik Tillman. He scored now 2 in his last 3. Obviously we had the little winter break, so he hadn't played in a while, but just, he comes on and immediately scores a goal, puts them back in the match. He's had a great season, and I'm excited to see if he leaves this summer, because the Bayern buyback's not for 2 years. And so someone might come in this summer and try and get him for 30 million euros or whatnot. Chris Richards, 2 matches in a row, playing. Love to see it. Huge. Hopefully see him in the Premier League this week as well. Ricardo Pepi, 5. He now has 3 goals in his last 3. A big part of that comeback today. Yunus Musa at 6, playing every week for AC Milan, staying in the plans for 2 managers consistently. Just like to see him out on the pitch. And ever since Pochettino instilled some confidence back in him, he's obviously just really taken a step up for his club. Weston McKennie, 7. He had an assist today for Juventus and yet another draw for them. 8, Johnny Cardoso, playing week in and week out for Betis. Really solid player. Do think he'll leave this summer as well. I don't know if it'll be Tottenham, but I do think he'll leave. Tyler Adams, 9. He played a big part in their FA Cup win and then a 2-2 draw with Chelsea today that he played 90 minutes in. And finally, Gio Reyna makes the list, I believe, for the first time in the power rankings. Gets a goal. He's played in 6 straight matches, as we said. 2 goals in his last 4. Let's get Gio Reyna back and firing. I mean, this would be great to have him and Tillman both, because I think they can both play a role for this U.S. men's national team. Definitely. And I think it actually will be better for both if they're both available.
Yep. All right. Before we go, I just need a prediction for tomorrow, or today, as people will see this.
For Arsenal Tottenham?
No, for Bills Ravens.
I don't know, man. We got nobody. We have nobody fit. You don't really have that many people fit. I mean, this could be one of those where it's like the most boring match ever, or like just a bizarre 4-3. Yeah. I think I'm leaning like a bizarre 4-3 at the Emirates. I don't think we'll lose. Like, we don't really lose. You know what I mean? Like, we don't. There's crisis mode. We're 6 points out of first. We're in 4th place in the Champions League. We don't really lose very often.
Well, I mean, I saw that tweet. Like, this is the new.
It is
shot. But I mean, it's with 2 important losses that are not included when you talk about the Champions League.
100% agree. I mean, I'm not in crisis mode with the rest of the fans. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, it's crisis mode. Another year, Arteta might not win a trophy. Like, you're telling me if Arteta went out and won the FA Cup or the League Cup, everyone's would be like, okay,
everyone would be okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I agree. We didn't win the Premier League or the Champions League, but Arteta's the.
That's the problem with the discourse on Twitter.
And 100%. And it's hard to remember that, like, sometimes you'll see someone be like, I saw a tweet that was like, you're so old if you remember watching Leicester City win the Premier League. Like, I was 21 when that happened. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just have to remember you're arguing with like 14-year-olds. So I just have to literally need to step so far away from Twitter sometimes. Yep. But I think we'll get the win. We kind of own you at the Emirates. Like, you guys haven't really gotten a result there in a long time. So that I'm just banking on that. And you guys are in worse form than us, like way worse. So it's comparatively, it's similar, but like, if just statistically, like, you guys have been horrific for the last 2 months other than beating Man City.
Correct. Which now doesn't even look like that good of a result.
No, I mean, did you see today they blew a 2-0 lead?
Yeah. All right. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. We appreciate you guys watching, and we will be back. Ooh, I'm going to Paris next week. Hopefully next week. Hopefully we'll be able to figure it out. NBA and Man City PSG.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
We'll figure something out.
All right.
Peace.